What's so special about today in history? Let's find out. October 18th. Quick events of the day. 1967, the Soviet probe. Venera 4 becomes the first spacecraft to transmit data from another planet, Venus. 2019, Christina Koch and Jessica Meir performed the first all-female spacewalk in history. 1867, the U.S. formally takes control of Alaska from Russia, a deal once mocked as Seward's folly. Crazy how much happened on this day, right? But among all these moments, one story shines brightest, literally. On October 18th, 1931, the world turned off its lights to honor the man who had given it light, Thomas Alva Edison. The life, rivalries, and legacy of Thomas Edison. It was a Sunday evening in October 1931. Across America, homes and cities dimmed their lights. For 1 minute, the world went dark, a silent tribute to the man whose inventions had brightened it for over half a century. That man was Thomas Edison. But to understand why his death moved millions, we have to go back to where it all began. Edison was born in 1847 in the small town of Milan, Ohio. As a child, he was endlessly curious, a little boy who'd take apart clocks just to see their gears move. Teachers said he was slow, his mind wandered too far from the textbook, but his mother, Nancy Edison, saw something in him. She pulled him out of school and taught him at home, letting him explore science and chemistry at his own pace. In their basement, Tom created his first tiny laboratory, full of bottles, wires, and a smell of burnt sulfur. By his teenage years, he had already found his way into the world of technology, working as a telegraph operator. Nights were his classroom. Surrounded by the clicking of Morse code, Edison started experimenting with electrical signals, often falling asleep at his workbench. In 1869, at just 22, he patented an improved stock ticker that could send financial data faster than ever. And suddenly, he wasn't just a tinkerer anymore. He was an inventor. His success gave him the means to open his own laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey in 1876, the first true research and development center in the world. Imagine it. Gas lamps flickering, teams of engineers working side by side, shelves stacked with glass tubes and copper coils. Edison had built a factory of ideas where invention became a process, not a miracle. He called it organized imagination. The first miracle came quickly. In 1877, Edison invented the phonograph, the first machine that could record and reproduce sound. When he played a recording of his own voice saying, "Mary had a little lamb," people thought it was witchcraft. Newspapers began calling him the Wizard of Menlo Park. But his greatest challenge was still ahead. In 1879, after thousands of failed experiments, Edison finally created a practical incandescent light bulb. He tested everything, cotton, bamboo, horsehair, before finding the perfect filament. One night, when the bulb stayed lit for more than 13 hours, his team cheered. Edison just smiled. "Now," he said, "we must make it last longer." That's how he was. Never satisfied, always improving. Soon he built entire systems to power cities. On September 4th, 1882, he switched on the Pearl Street Station in New York, the first electric power grid in history. Streets that had always been dark suddenly glowed with steady, warm light. People stood outside staring in disbelief. But success brought rivals. One of them was a brilliant immigrant named Nikola Tesla. Tesla briefly worked for Edison, but their visions couldn't have been more different. Edison believed in direct current, DSE, safe but limited. Tesla dreamed of alternating current, AC, powerful, far-reaching, and revolutionary. When Tesla left and joined George Westinghouse, the two sides entered what history now calls the War of Currents. Edison, desperate to defend his system, launched a campaign showing how dangerous AC could be. In one of his darker moments, he even sponsored public demonstrations where animals were electrocuted to prove his point. It was brutal, and though it damaged his reputation, it also revealed something raw about him. Edison truly believed that technology should serve, not endanger humanity. But fate chose Tesla's current. In 1893, when AC powered the Chicago World's Fair, Tesla and Westinghouse won the war. Still, it was Edison's name that stayed glowing in the public imagination. By the early 1900s, Edison had over 1,000 patents and was running a vast industrial empire. He founded companies that would later become General Electric. Some called him a visionary, others called him ruthless. He was both. He could work 3 days straight without sleep and expected the same from his team. But his ability to turn an idea into a business changed the world forever. Even in his later years, Edison never stopped experimenting. He developed motion picture technology, the kinetoscope, paving the way for modern cinema. He worked on batteries, cement, and sound recording. And in his final decade, he even tried to create a machine that could communicate with the dead, a bizarre idea that shows just how limitless his curiosity was. When he died at 84, President Herbert Hoover asked every American to turn off their lights for 1 minute. As darkness spread across cities, the world reflected on the man who had taught it how to shine. Today, every flick of a light switch, every recorded voice, every movie owes something to Thomas Edison. His life wasn't perfect, filled with obsession, rivalry, and mistakes. But it proved one thing: genius is not a flash of inspiration, it's a lifetime of perseverance. Edison and Tesla were opposites. One dreamed in blueprints, the other in lightning. But together they pushed humanity forward. And maybe that's the lesson their rivalry left behind. Progress is never clean, but it's always bright. On October 18, 1931, the world lost Thomas Edison. But his light never went out. His inventions didn't just illuminate homes. They ignited human ambition and defined what progress means. If you love stories of genius, rivalry, and invention, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more tales that shaped our world. And tell me in the comments, whose innovation do you think changed humanity more, Edison's or Tesla's?